on, my people? This morning I just had a thought on my mind, man, I want to share. As you can see, I'm out and about. I'm about to go and install a security system for a client in Tupelo. I guess the thought I wanted to share this morning was not being afraid to try something new. A lot of times when you look at things that happen in life, a lot of times they force you to do new things. You don't really have, look at my sister, you don't really have a choice in it. It just happens some kind of way. And so you're forced to go into something new and something different. And I must admit that there is a fear there initially. Because of course doing new things, you're not familiar, you're not comfortable. And sometimes, many times, trying new things you fail. But I say this, if you're putting forth the effort, look, you never lose in those situations. Even though you might fail, you never lose. Why is that? Because every situation you're involved in, even if you fail, there's something you can learn from that situation, something to push you forward into the next one. I give you an example. As I was working for the state, I was called to go and do a lot of inspections of property. Now, hey, I'm an engineer, man. What do I know about inspecting property? What do I know about foundations and floors and things like that? Absolutely nothing. I don't know nothing. So how did that help, you know? But then after a while, you know, going through different inspections for different properties, you come to find out that there is things that are transferable. You know, when you can go into situations and look at them and be able to tell, okay, now the foundation is weak here, or maybe joists need to be replaced there, or this whole situation, especially what we were doing, we were looking at ramps. And then so the ramp would land on the porch. And if the porch was in disrepair, then we have to go in and repair that too. So you go through a whole process of evaluation of how things look. And you get so good at it that you can look at a situation and say, okay, this is not going to work. So that's transferable skill. You know, if ever I have to, you know, going back again to inspecting things of that sort, then I'll know. Now, was that for me? No, I never liked it. So as you can imagine, that was a failure on my part because I never liked it. I never wanted to do it. That wasn't what I went to school for. But because of the fact that I learned it, then I can take those skills and use them somewhere else. So like I said, you never be afraid to try something new. It's going to be awkward in the beginning, yes. Yes, it's going to take some adjustment. There's a period of adjustment for everything. But if you're willing to put in the time and the effort, things that you learn and commit to memory, I guarantee you'll use them later. I guarantee you. I'll give you another example. Growing up, and I'm sure my sister, she can vouch for me on this. My father was a contractor. He specialized in flooring. Now he could do just about anything you asked him to do that required tools, but he specialized in flooring. And I'm thinking to myself, when I get older, I'm not going to be a contractor. I'm not going to deal with floors. I'm not going to deal with sheetrock, any of that stuff. But he insisted that all of his boys learn the trade. He insisted on that. He insisted that we learn how to use tools. So when we started to use tools, I come to find out too, that was a transferable skill. Because you got some men, I hate to say this, I don't mean no harm to y'all, but you got some men that can't take a hammer and nail and drive it. I know that sounds odd, but I've been around some guys. You give them a hammer, they don't know what to do with it. But because of the fact that my father insisted on us learning these things, later on in life they come to be handy. They come to be handy. Because when I'm on the job now and it requires the use of tools, I'm not afraid. You can't back me up with a pair of tools now. You know, without hesitation, I can use them. I know what they're used for, which ones for which job. It's a skill. So like I mentioned, now, you know, it's something new and you might be uncomfortable. But if you try something new, then who knows? Later on in the future, you know, it could be useful to you. And then another thing too, A lot of people, a lot of guys I met, a lot of ladies you talk to, they say, well, I'm not happy with what I'm doing now. You know, I don't like the job I'm on. I don't like the skills and things that, you know, I'm having to use. A lot of times what you'll find is that if you try something new, say for instance a family member say, well, you know, this will probably be good for you. Try this. It's something new. You say, well, I don't know. I'll try it anyway. And then that person discovers that what they were recommending is something that they enjoy. And not only is it something they enjoy, but now they can make money off it. It's lucrative. So if you think about it, man, it's never a waste of time to try something new. It's never a waste of time. Because you're going to learn something. You're going to take something away from that particular situation. It depends upon you how much you take away. I hear guys say all the time, and that's one of the main questions I get. They say, Luke, man, how you start your business? Well, easy. You got to do something you never did to get to where you never been. That's easy. So if you have a skill, right, and you're saying to yourself, okay, how can I take this skill and make it into something that's lucrative for me? How can I take this skill and say, okay, I can build this into a business, but how do I do it? Like I said, now you're getting into something new. You're venturing into new territory. You can't be afraid to make mistakes. Because if you don't make mistakes, that means you're not trying. And if you're not trying, you're never going to achieve the goals that you have. It's just that simple. If you're afraid to try something new, then your circumstances in life will always be the same. But now I remember growing up in Belzoni. Now, you know, a lot of people in Belzoni, a lot of guys I went to school with, a lot of my classmates, our desire was to get out. Because when you look at our economy, in Mississippi, our economy is probably the last, it's probably the 50th out of all the economies of the states in the United States. But then you go a little bit further, when you get into the Delta now, you know, some economists say that's equal to a third world country. The commerce there. So we trying to get out. So in order to get out, you know, there were certain things that you had to do. If you couldn't catch a football, if you couldn't play basketball, now it's time to focus on your grades. You know, you focusing on things that's gonna help you later on in life, skills that's gonna help you later on in life. And so you got to do things differently in order to have a different outcome. Now nobody wants to live in a third world economy. Nobody does. You just existing. You might believe that you're living, but you just existing. And see, that's comfortable for some of those guys. I talk to them now and they don't have a problem with it. It's okay, you know. They don't think that anything is wrong. But now, if you ever get a chance to go outside of Belzoni, I know this gonna sound funny, but if you ever get a chance to go outside Belzoni, if you ever get a chance to experience life in other places, you'll be upset with yourself that you didn't expose yourself to something new. So you never get complacent if you're not afraid to try different things. You mature as a person if you're not afraid to try different things, new things. That's what it's all about. In the end, when you look back at life and you say, okay, well, I did the best that I could do to become a more mature person. That's one of the things, trying new things. Then one more thing, man, then I'm gonna let you go, cause y'all don't need a sermon this morning. When you have that outlook, then when things become difficult on you, the things that, the options that you have, I'll say, those options that may be more difficult, you won't be afraid of them because you condition yourself to try new things. So now I got her in the room so I can say this. I hope she don't be mad. But now I have my only sister. Love her dearly. When things got difficult with her, now I know she'll let me say this. She took a path I think was most difficult. She did. Lisa said, Mark, I'm going back to school. And I'm going to become a biology teacher. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, you're going to be a teacher? That's what you're going to do? man, you ain't got nothing else. You can't think of nothing else you can do because she already got a degree. So I'm like, okay, but what you ain't gonna. But then I thought about it. I said, okay, Lisa is doing something different, something new, because she's trying to get somewhere she's never been. So look, she in the room right now, baby. I love you. I hope you're successful. Anything you need, holler at me. You know I'm on the way. But that just illustrates the point. You want something different out of life, but if that's what you want, then you got to do something different. You got to do something new. Or else the same situations that you find yourself in on a regular basis are going to continue to happen to you. You got to do something new. You got to change it up. You got to do it. That's a viewpoint that a lot of people, they say, well, I don't necessarily feel like I got to do anything different. Well, if you don't feel like you got to do anything different, then you're going to get the same outcome. That's just how that works. You'll get the same outcome. Look, let me give you one last example, and I'm going to tell you, and we'll be done with it. Scariest thing in life I have ever done. That's the truth of it. The scariest thing I've ever done. I walked away from an engineering position with the state of Mississippi. Right? So we talking about full benefits, we talking about engineer salary. I walked away from it. And I walked away from it because in the position I was in, I saw a lot of people that needed help, and I couldn't give it to them. And anything that I was involved in, I felt like more could be done. But of course, because you're working for someone else, you're working for an agency, you got someone that's over you, then your hands are tied. So what can you do? So when I decided that I was going to start my own business and go out on my own, I had various circumstances come up, difficulties, trying to understand how to set up an LLC, insurance, savings for the future, retirement, all of that. That was on me now. So that was something new. But I guarantee you, I don't regret it. I do not regret it, and I'll tell you why. Even though that was a hard situation in the beginning, when you're able to direct what you do, when you're able to look at your schedule and tell the person, hey man, I ain't available at that time, or I'm not available on that day. Or you can look at your schedule and say, look, in order for me to be available this time, or for this appointment, this is how much this is going to cost, this is what I expect. And I, go a little bit further, I do it like my dad used to do. When I hit the door, I need you to be writing the check, because the work gonna be done. But it gives you a certain amount of flexibility, even though in the beginning, now, like I said, it was difficult, it was hard. But as time progresses, the things that were hard to you, you adjust to, you adapt. You come to meet that as a human. So every time you hit a situation that becomes difficult and you adapt, that makes you stronger. That makes you a more mature person. So like I said, man, y'all don't need no lecture from me this morning. I just felt that, so I had to say something. At least I see you in the comments. That's my sister. Y'all know I love her. Y'all don't need a sermon from me, man. I just wanted to share something positive. Because every time you look around, people talking crazy. If we are complaining about things that's going on in life, and we're not trying to do anything to better our lives, why we complaining? You're wasting time. The time that you could be using to readjust, reevaluate, and then go at this thing again, you wasting because you complaining so much. I ain't got time for that, man. If it ain't gonna be positive and productive, I don't want to be no part of it. That's just my thoughts on it, man. Look, we almost there at the location. I hope everybody have a wonderful day, man. Love y'all. Y'all be easy.